Hello, hello, hello again, everybody. We are back and live on Spaces, 8:05 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday. This should be a lot of fun tonight. I'm really looking forward to this one. George is here. Make him a co-host. Bop. Do.
Bingo.
How you doing, buddy?
I made it, of course.
You've made it. All right, guest is already here. Let me approve her.
It's been a fun day of football. Yes.
Right? Yeah, no, came back with a vengeance. I'll let you do the introduction today since you're booking.
We spoke earlier.
Nice. Yeah, she checked in with me a little bit ago of how to connect. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Making sure we're all 100% ready to go.
Yeah, everybody rip roared and ready to rock. So
give me one
I
second.
am good. I've approved her. She's on mute, but she can be ready. But anything else you want to cover before we get rolling into it?
Nope.
Nice.
No, I think we're getting closer to 300 subs. So
yes.
People are helping us out. So thank you for that.
We appreciate every single subscription. Thank you all so much. It's growing every day. It's fun. I like to see even a little bit here and there. It's fun. It's all part of it.
So what we decided to do today was kind of reach out a little further beyond the norm of our regular programming, so to speak. And I've heard her do a couple shows on Spaces before, but I always catch them at the weird time, so I never catch the whole thing. So I had asked her to come on, and it's Dr. Gina Possin is our guest tonight.
PhD. You got to throw that out there. Hey, you've earned that. My mom has one in education, and she's been retired for like 6 years, and we still like, nope. It's always doctor. You got a doctor and a PhD. Sharing that stuff.
It took me a long time, so thank you.
Right. Exactly. I can remember the work and like the dissertation she had doing all that. I'm like, no, you've earned that. You'd be proud of that.
Yeah, that dissertation gave me some mental issues, I think, for a while.
Yeah. No, I 100% can imagine. No, I'm excited for this. We want to talk about your expertise in psychology, right?
Yes. So first off, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. Please don't let that doctor or PhD be intimidating by any means. Yeah, I heard your show last week, and I'm a huge wrestling fan, a huge football fan. I spent all day today watching football, so now I have to switch my brain back to wrestling. I was really excited about the Packer game, so originally I'm from Wisconsin, but now I live in Florida. So
that's my in-laws are from Wisconsin, and we had breakfast with them today. So no.
Oh, excellent.
We had breakfast because he had to go watch the football game in the afternoon.
Yeah. So there's priorities, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And we knew it.
Yeah. In Wisconsin, we used to schedule weddings around the Packer game.
Yep.
My team's playing now.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
I'm Buffalo. Buffalo's playing tonight, so I'm kind of got the game on in the background. So
yeah, I do too, so it's all right.
That's good. So I figured
it's muted, but it's on.
What I figured we'd do, Dr. Gina, is we would take as much time as you need to introduce yourself to our crowd, like give us a background on yourself and stuff like that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So it's a little bit interesting. So I'm sure people are like, how do you do this with wrestling? But I'll get there. So I have a PhD in general psychology with an emphasis in industrial organizational psychology. And that's a mouthful, and people usually glaze over when I say that. It's workplace psychology. So what we do is we make workplaces better, basically. It's not abnormal. We don't give counseling to employees. That's not what we do. We make workplaces better for people. We understand how to hire people, how to design jobs, how to motivate leadership to do the right thing, I guess I would say. How to maybe do change management initiatives better, how to work with them for strategic planning initiatives, and do that all workforce planning, all to align everything to the goals and mission of the organization, but also to do it in a way that, uses data to back everything up. So it really, if what you would do, I think the best way to kind of explain this is if you were to take a psychology degree, a business degree, an HR degree, and I already said psychology. Which one am I missing here?
Get so many.
Oh, and a statistics degree. If you mash all of those together, that's really kind of like an IO Psych degree. So, so that's that emphasis part of my PhD, but I have a master's in IO psychology as well. So, so I did my bachelor's in psychology, master's in IO psychology, and then the PhD was in general psych with an emphasis in IO psych. So I kind of run the gamut of understanding psychology as a whole. I have a understanding of some of the abnormal psych, so I do kind of we're going to talk a little bit about Bailey in a little bit. So I do have an understanding, but as far as like clinical diagnosis, no, I can't do that. I'm not licensed. I'm not anything like that, but I do have somewhat of an understanding of that realm. But my home is really in that workplace psychology. So what's fun, I think, and then the other thing is with an IO psych degree is you do have like an advanced understanding of social psychology, how people just kind of function in society, in societal relationships, things like that. And one of the major things with that is identity. And so when, one of the other things I'm going to talk about a lot with wrestling fans is the identity portion. When I did my dissertation, I did that on adolescents who were involved in team sports and how that affected whether or not they were more or less committed to their organizations in adulthood. So like whether or not they were more loyal is basically what that came down to. And what that comes down to is if they identify early on with a group, does that mean that later on they're going to identify more with the group that they're with?
Interesting.
In an organization? And that did come out as yes, they do.
I would think
so. Yep. Yeah. It was really cool to learn. And there's I think special things that come with being in a sports team that you just kind of learn that, and especially in adolescence. So another thing one of my bigger expertise levels, I would say, is with human development. And so I'm really fascinated by it. I've dug a lot into it and just understanding how people develop throughout their lifespan. Another little fun fact about me, I'm a professor. So I'm an associate professor of psychology. I've taught for 10 years. I also direct an IO psychology master's program. So I've taught a ton of human development classes. What was that? I'm sorry.
So you definitely got it covered.
Yeah. So I kind of run the gamut of this like background, I guess we would say. And then I really have an interest in sports as well.
That's awesome.
And how that kind of ties into, like how that affects a person's, like their behaviors, I would say, in the workplace as one thing, but other areas of life as well.
Sure.
And since sports can be a workplace, I like to delve into how that kind of connects. So, being a wrestling fan, I was like, wouldn't it be fun as a little side hobby of if I started doing, something with this? And it started off with, I'd really like to work on maybe doing some kind of a book, of like, the psychology behind wrestling fans. And I don't know where it just started to kind of like my posts started to kind of grow and everything. And then I started doing some spaces. So, it's just kind of blown up. And my plan is to go into the other sports as well. Start doing things with football, start doing things with hockey. I'm a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. That I was going to say some people don't like that, but I do live in Tampa. So
hey, you got to support your team. I get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all in my wheelhouse of stuff that I kind of grew up around. I mean, my father was a high school soccer coach here in Arizona, a very successful one. When he passed away in 2008, one of the Arizona Republic labeled him as like the godfather of Arizona high school soccer, but he was also a psychology teacher at the school. So this is all stuff that I'm just like, and a lot of that stuff, like what his biggest goal was, like the team was very successful. He won 18 region championships and 6 state titles. But, when he retired, to him, it was more important about who the men became to be more than, winning games. Winning games is a part of it, but that was all to make them better people and stuff. And,
Yeah.
I know a few of them still that I'm in contact with today. Like there's like 6 or 7 of them that are now high school soccer coaches themselves. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So it's one of the, when you say that stuff, it really does. I was glad that you said that it does correlate, because if you didn't, I was going to be like, oh.
Yeah. Nope, it does.
Really
it absolutely does. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of connections there for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
So, Dr. Gina, I'm curious, how'd you become such a big sport? You grew up in Wisconsin, right?
I did. My dad was a baseball coach.
Okay. I was wondering how you were getting
nice.
into this realm. So take it from here and we'll see how you did it.
Yeah, my dad was a baseball coach. I used to sit and do the books for him. So I think that started it right from the
that probably helped with your
get-go.
Statistics too. That probably is just
it probably did. Yeah.
Right? It's just it's an easy, especially that early on in the connection too.
I never made that connection, but yeah.
Nice. That's what I do. I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
That's funny.
Yeah,
the
scorebook. Yeah.
And then that
all the stats.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's something, and then you connect it to and then anything you do like that, you can connect with your parents. Like, that's why people laugh at me, because I live in Phoenix, so I'm mostly in Pacific time. And like, my favorite thing to watch is English soccer, but usually the games are on at like 6, 7 in the morning, and I'll wake up for them where I can, and people think it's crazy, but for me, it's a big tie to my dad. Like, we went to the World Cup in 1998 together, and it's a thing that I have to that because it's important to me. So to be able to tie that stuff back to that early memories with your dad is just something that obviously has been important to your life. And that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. And I like baseball too. I grew up a Brewers fan, and they're doing great right now. But yeah, I don't know that I can make the same connections I think that I can.
Right.
Maybe someday I can. Right now, the 3 that I'm planning on focusing on are the 3 I mentioned. But, so that's, you're catching me at the start of something that I'm planning right now.
Yeah,
so
cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
It works out.
I know
we're new at this too, so it works out.
Yeah. We talked prior to you coming on. And if you look in your profile picture, you're with somebody and you went somewhere and you had a report from someplace.
Yes. So I was lucky enough to meet Bray in 2022. And that was probably one of the most special times in my life to be able to meet him. So I always was a huge fan of his. Might get a little teared up from that one.
Good.
But, And so last night I did go to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando and got to see the Wyatt Six house, and that was amazing. I'm sure the people behind me, they really shuffle you through those houses so fast. And I'm sure the people behind me were getting irritated because I was taking my time.
Like, play through. I want to see this. Yeah.
Right. I was like, I want to take it all in.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And there were a few different Uncle Howdies that jump out at you. And one of them, I had a Wyatt Six hat on, and one of them saw it and he just smiled at me. And I'm like, are you Bo?
That would have been something.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean, you never know, but I'm sure it wasn't. But
especially with being in Orlando, like, they're pretty close to that point.
Well, yeah, and then we went to the Ice Nine Kills concert the night before.
I saw you were at a concert.
And the night before that, Jason Baker was actually at the house. So I was like, oh, we were one night off. But you never know. But it was really cool. When you stand in line there, they run, a little video clip. And one thing that I found very interesting in that clip was they go through all the different characters, and he made sure to mention that Bray was one of the 6. And I don't know that we have had anything where they have made it very clear that he is one of the 6. And I could be wrong, that maybe I just missed that. But I said to my husband, I said, did you catch that? They said Bray's one of the 6. And he's like, no, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I've seen people say that online before and different things, but I haven't ever heard that as part of the stuff. But I mean, there was so much stuff they put out, we could have easily missed it. But
yeah. And I guess I never caught it before, and maybe that's on me. But I'm glad to see that, because there's always been this talk of who's the 6th person. Right. And there's, I always said, I'm sure it's Bray.
Okay.
But, there's always been is Alexa going to be the 6th? you know.
Right. I think that's what most people thought.
Right. And so, so I was glad that they said that, just to, you know, make it clear that, you know, he's the sixth. And, you know, Alexa was in the house, but they did have the fun house in there. So that would make sense why she would be in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so it was cool. They had, you know, all the characters in there. Towards the end of the house, it got very dark and, a little more demented. You saw some other characters that we've never seen before. I don't know if that was something that Universal added or if that's something we're going to see. I don't know. But they were very dark, monsterish type characters. I don't know I couldn't even describe them, but they were very just monsterish characters. And my gut tells me it's something that Universal just put in there to make the house a little more scary.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could have had, like, you know, Jake said, Jason Baker, you could have the artist involved with it, maybe making something with it. I know he does.
Yeah. I know he was involved with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see them making, just give us a couple extra weird, scary things we can stick in the back over here. Sure.
Yeah. Cause that part of the house got very dark and twisted. And that's where Huskus was back there. And he was in like a cage thing, and it was very dark and twisty back there. And then just as you got past that was Bray's chair.
Okay.
Rocking with the lantern. And yeah, it was very cool. Very cool. There was an area where it was just fireflies too. That was more towards the beginning, but and that was really yeah. It just gave me chills going through the whole thing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, got goosebumps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like it's something that would still be cool to somebody who doesn't know, but for the folks that know, and with how mainstream it is and how easily accessible that stuff is online, it could be, I'm sure it's a big draw for them. I mean, obviously, I was shocked when I saw that ad that the WWE is that involved with something that major that they do every year with it.
Yeah. I mean, well, I heard some people who said that they didn't even know, you know, anything about it, and that went through the house and said that they really enjoyed it. So that was good to hear.
That's cool.
Yeah. And like, you know, they said that was, you know, like a really cool house to go through, and I don't know anything about it. And I was like, awesome. Yay. And I was like, and by the way, you should start watching wrestling.
Right. I was just gonna say, especially like they had that like Alexa Bliss, like the lookalike. Like,
yeah.
on TV? Yeah, no, right?
Yeah. And she was really cool looking too. Like she looked great. All the characters looked great. They did a wonderful job. And
cool. How was the attendance? Was it widely very popular?
Yeah, that house was just as busy as every other house.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is
we had the express packet, the express pass. So
nice.
Yeah. So that was nice. But, the wait times for, you know, the regular was like 45, 55 minutes. I wouldn't say it wasn't the same as like the Jason Universe house or the Terrifier house.
Sure.
And I don't know why the Five Nights at Freddy's house was so long, because if you ask me, that was the most disappointing house. But those lines were like over 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we didn't wait that long, but yeah.
Right. No,
yeah, there's no way.
It's just the fact that it's that.
But I mean, those were insanely long. Yeah. But every other house was about 45, 55 minutes long. And that was it was in line with those for sure.
That's cool. No, I was, when you messaged me that, this is where I was like, oh, well, sweet. We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another one of those cool partnerships that you see. Cause I mean, WWE's gotten themselves pretty much everywhere anymore. I feel to me like it's more mainstream than it's ever been. As someone in my early 40s has been watching more of my life than I have it. It's really like, I mean, my wife brought home drumsticks from the grocery store the other day and there was Cody Rhodes on it. Like,
oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And she had no idea. She doesn't watch. She doesn't really care. She knows like adjacent because she hears me. I'm a loud person and she hears me in the house, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's funny that's one of the other things I was thinking about the other day too. And if I go on a tangent here for a second, just bear with me.
That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Go on.
So this is the IO psych part of me is, it's funny because that side of me understands some of the decisions that WWE makes as a business.
Okay.
And then the fan side of me struggles.
Right. I could see that. Yeah.
So I go back and forth. So this recent ESPN thing that everybody had a meltdown about, I completely understood it from a business standpoint
Sure.
of what they needed to do. And I tried to wrap my head around what could have made it better. And I think that if they would have just communicated how you can watch it better, it would, if they could have, if they communicated the rollout better, I think that it would have been 20 times. I think we're still at a point where people are like, do I have to pay for the app? Do I not have to pay for the app? Because people don't understand if ESPN comes with their cable service, they don't know whether or not they're going to be able to see everything or if they still have to pay for the app. And that's major confusing part of this whole thing. And
it's a pretty important one.
It is a very important one. And you don't want to wait until the day of and see, oh, I don't have it. I can't watch it. And I think that had they taken the time to just that one extra step.
It's one of those things that gets worded through like too many people read it and adjusted it and edited it till it just didn't make enough sense.
Yeah. And so like communication is just key here. And then on top of it, you have, their shows are on how many different streaming platforms right now.
Yeah.
A simple page on their website just of how can I watch the shows would, I think, do wonders for them.
Or if you just wait
and then update it.
If you just waited like I did, ESPN just updated all their stuff on my TV. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think, just doing something like that would have made it so much better. But
just a little. Just give it something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just put it in English that everyone can understand. Because that was that. I swear, it just went through too many lawyers and
they hurried it. They hurried it, Jake. We talked about it.
They rushed it. Yeah, they rushed it.
Excited to make that announcement. Yeah.
And if you just take that one extra day so that you can put something together that says, people with
even
even a half a day. I mean, honestly, I put
like 6 in the morning. Yeah,
I literally put something together that I could have sent them. Hey, WWE, hire me. No.
Seriously.
I could put something together for him in 20 minutes. That says these
morning, just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, these cable services offer it as part of their package. These ones you have to buy the app.
And there were certain ways too that hey, if you've already got certain bundles with Disney or whatever, things are changing. Cause that's how it is. That's my wife and I kind of figured that out with us, of where hey, things are going to change here and there, and it'll all just kind of work. It's going to come out in the wash, essentially. I think it might be I feel like the amount we thought was $6 more. Okay, I can live with that. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Just as opposed to everybody thinking oh God, I got to pay for it monthly, and then are the pay-per-views going to be on top of it and whatever. Just clarify.
Right. Yeah. And that'll lessen the fan frustration, so much more. Yeah.
And
you're already frustrating them on your storylines.
And with the ticket costs and everything, everybody's complaining about those, which is valid. I mean,
absolutely.
Every time they come to town, they're more. They come into the Phoenix or Glendale area every 3 to 5 months, and I swear every time the tickets keep going up and up and up. Yeah. And I'm glad the next one's at the arena far away from me. I'm like, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah,
it's because it gets pricey. It does. Yeah, especially if you have more than 2 or 3 kids and you want to bring the family, it gets real pricey real fast.
Yeah, we were just looking at them for Orlando, and we were like, that's more than double the last time we went. So we were like, maybe not.
So the only trick that I know, that's the one that I've learned the last 2 times I've gone, what I've done, because I was on the fence and I looked at the tickets 2 to 3 hours before showtime. And they opened, once they had it set up, they opened up a couple more sections. And so I got lower level tickets for $120.
Oh, wow.
Which wasn't bad. Yeah, but that's because I was on the side where you couldn't really see the Tron, but there were seats that opened up after they had the stage set up. That's the only trick that so you're not 100, it's not 100% going to work if it's sold out or if they don't set it up differently, but they knew they could have the smaller stage and they weren't sure what they were going to open up. And yeah, cause everybody in my section of 10 to 15 people, all of us had gotten our tickets that day. So they clearly had opened up then. That's the one trick I can give to people and try to help.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was a cool move.
Yeah, since we're on the topic now of WWE, I know you wanted to talk about the changing character of Bailey. That's been going through her head lately, and what you think's happening here.
I have been so excited watching her.
Because she needed something, right?
She did. And I think it ties in perfectly with everything that's going on. And I don't know if sometimes they've had long-term story building, right? So, she's been going through a lot of frustration with not going anywhere, right? And I think it's been either a slow buildup or I know you had one person request that I don't talk about AJ Lee, but I might build her into this. So
You can talk about anything you want here. It's fine.
Since that happened,
we run the show. Sorry.
I happened to see that comment and I laughed. I'm like, well, sorry. So with her level of, identity, I would call it an identity crisis at this point. She's kind of been all over the gamut of, there was Hugger Bailey and then there was, the role model. I was going to say role master. I'm like, that's absolutely not the right word. The role model. And then she was with damage control. And then, she's had some, backstabbing going on with that. So I think she's got some trust issues, obviously. And I think she's at a place where she doesn't feel like she's going anywhere. I know there was that one WrestleMania that she got pulled. There's been a couple times she's gotten pulled. And I think they're going to kind of, whether or not that was intentional to build into this or whether that just happened, I have a feeling they'll build that into this character where you're going to hear that. I don't know for sure if this is supposed to be a voice in the back of her head kind of talking to her, or if we're actually watching like a dissociative identity disorder situation, like a split personality. So the updated term for that is dissociative identity disorder. So I don't know, but either way, she's on the brink of a psychotic break. Right?
You can see it coming.
You can see it coming. And so it's one of the two, but you definitely see she's got a lot of anxiety. And so one of the things is if you have major anxiety to a point where it's unbearable. And so I'm going to be very careful when I say this, because I know when I start talking about things like this, people are like, I have anxiety. Am I going to get to a point where I'm going to have lead to that? No, not necessarily. This would be something, first of all, this isn't real. Second of all, I just want to make sure I do disclaimers right now. It would have to be
not Pamela. Right.
Yeah. It would have to be to a point where it's so extreme that this would happen. But what I'm watching, I'm just saying this could be a route that they're taking this gimmick. So that she is to a point where she's just got so much anxiety over this that it's a breaking point, that it could lead to that type of a situation. Otherwise, it could just be where these are voices in the back of her head. And that's where I'm like, I'm not sure which way they're going with it, but it's interesting either way.
And it works with it because how many people for the last 6 months to a year have been like, well, we like Bailey, we do, but where can she fit? What's she gonna do because of where the roster is now? She's very talented, but she's kind of moved in almost to like the Natalia role of the player coach situation. So this is something different, something that she can do, and hopefully she can pull it off. Well, so far it's been enjoyable. It's been interesting to watch, and hopefully it continues to be that way.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think this is my speculation, if you don't mind me speculating what I think is going to happen. So I actually did not think AJ Lee was going to show up. And I posted something kind of alluding to the fact that I didn't think she was going to show up. So I was surprised that she did show up. But it makes sense to me now because I do think they're building up for WrestlePalooza, which makes sense, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right. So
loading up, they got to load up that first ESPN show.
Absolutely.
They want to make sure everybody's got it, right?
Yeah. And so
Brock and Cena,
as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
No,
right?
I saw your post about the wrestling. It's like, actually, I pulled it up and had it up to you because, the way you kind of posted about it, where it was, what's, how people want the instant gratification now in society, but sometimes we have to wait with things.
Yeah, because sometimes if you do it too fast, then it just fizzles out. Yeah. And I think that that's something that we have to keep in mind. Sometimes we get disappointed when things don't happen when we want it to happen, but there's a reason for it. Like sometimes it needs to be a little bit longer of a wait so that it's at the perfect moment. I really thought she was going to come back at WrestlePalooza, but now with the buildup of this, it does make sense why it happened. And she had a huge pop. So I think,
Yeah.
it was actually like a perfect, payoff for WWE. It was a perfect payoff for the fans. It was really better than I expected it to be. And so with this buildup, I think, I thought this through a little bit more. And what I think is going to happen is I think she's actually going to take the belt from Becky.
Ooh.
And I think Becky's going to go after the world title, because then you're going to have Becky and Seth with both the titles.
Ooh,
Right.
that would
So
make that group powerful. I like
that's
that.
one thing, right? The power couple. Then you're going to have, I think, AJ Lee's going to be celebrating with her title, but then I think Bayley's going to come out. And it's going to be, that's going to be her breaking point.
Yeah,
because Bayley posted she reposted a video today from her at NXT asking for the match with AJ Lee back when she was Hugger Bayley and being like, "You're not crazy. I don't know why everybody says you're crazy. You're awesome." And I think we're gonna see crazy Bayley.
Which is what she needs. Which is what she needs, because right now, like Jake just said, you kind of know her. She's there. We like her, but what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, she needs something more interesting and something for. I mean, you think about not to compare her to Naomi, but when we just saw Naomi, the total shift in character with Naomi, that was exactly what Naomi needed.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it became the most over heel,
was exactly what Naomi needed.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah. So I think something like this is going to make everybody be like, yes, this is what we needed with Bayley. Yeah. And so I think we're going to see Bayley then go after AJ Lee. And I think that that's going to be a thing. And then we're going to see Becky go on we're going to see like a power couple situation.
Because I was thinking when AJ Lee comes back, like, after Becky, who's she going to go at? I mean, what's she going to do?
Yeah. So the only thing I don't know is it going to be Io or is it going to be Stephanie that's going to win? I'm not sure, but Becky's going to end up going after whichever one of them that wins.
Either way, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, it will be. I was like, I'm there for either one of them.
I was looking at him like, I don't know, but I'm excited to watch that match.
Yeah. So that's my theory of what's going to happen. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But
I like the way you posted about the psychology of it, because what I thought about it is like, if people were just thinking that AJ was brought up recently, it could have been too soon. But for those of us who've been paying attention, I mean, and I was either Punk's first or second promo back. He even said, April sends her regards. And it was like, seeds have been right there. Yep. And so like, I think that's why.
Oh yeah. And the phone calls with Roxanne to her. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then it's been a build-up.
In Chicago, like, I know she's from New Jersey, but they've lived in Chicago for the last, 12 years. Like, it was perfect. It was one of those times where you just, it ends and you just go, no notes. Just, good job. No notes. That was perfect. No notes. Sometimes you have to do that. I know wrestling sometimes wants to swerve you and build up the heat or make something, but every now and then you just need those moments that we all go, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Before we
and I originally thought that the leak from the WWE shop was like that was an oops moment, everybody's like, oh, somebody's gonna get fired, and I was like, actually I wonder if that was on purpose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did that with Penta even more so, where they showed like his actual merch with like the actual ads for it, because they sold out of AJ's merch, so I think it worked out well for everybody.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. You never know what they do on purpose and what they do as an accident.
Yeah,
but
I think
either way, it pays off for them all.
Everything they do is well calculated.
Right.
And
if it is an accident, they feel like they figure out how to make it work. But I'm with both of you that I feel like that was 100% planned. They knew it. It was one of those things that they might not have. It was just too perfect, and everybody was talking about it, and it worked out. It was great. Even Punk mentioning Bayley and Rhea in the promo, just to be like, right? He does that. It's like, no, guys, it's happening. She's coming out. We're doing it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So before we dip into the wrestling fans' mind, that's going to be a nice little segment, I'm sure. Which talent in any organization do you find most intriguing from the psych standpoint? Like, who do you zoom in on? Like, you really like? You know what I mean?
Do you know? Well, there's a
Okay.
couple. And so, well, Carrying Cross, or I guess I should just say Killer Cross now, intrigues me. And along with that, I would say The Righteous.
Okay. That's interesting.
And I feel like we might see, I don't know for sure, but I feel like we might see I thought for a while we were going to see some sort of faction with the three of them, but I don't know if that's still in the future or not. But I definitely still I follow all of them. I've heard rumblings about The Righteous possibly coming to WWE.
Or at least that they've like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're rumors. I have theories on,
we like theories.
I know, I have theories on, I know Cross says it's not a work, but oh man, and I want to stay true to him because I'm such a fan. Like I want to believe you, but I feel like you're coming back. I don't know. I know he does a lot of things with psychology too. And so part of me really, I feel that all three of them eventually will be coming back, or will be coming, and maybe with another person or with some other people, and that will be a faction at some point. But it's so hard to speculate because they've been on, and I'm like, I don't know for sure if I'm right on that or not anymore. But I've seen some things and dug into some things, but I just think that their characters are fascinating. No matter what they seem to do or where they go. Because they do deal so much psychology, like with psychology with people. They get into the minds of people. And that's why I'm always drawn to those types of gimmicks.
It's all about making that
obviously,
right?
And,
yeah, if they can make the connection with stuff. That's sometimes too, if they only do a little bit here and there, that sprinkles of things, it draws you in. I mean, that's what works so well with Bray at all different times of his career, where they
exactly,
that little bit, that little taste. You're like, but wait, what was? And then you hear, like you said, you hear the stuff with the Righteous, where are they wrapping up their indie dates? If they are, why? Like,
yeah,
just like, what's going on over there? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, well, was that a rumor? You never know what's true and what's not. So, right. So I'm always hopeful because it's easier for me. It's easier to watch because I don't have all of the different streaming things that I can watch on all the other things. But, I try to, catch what I can where I can.
Very good.
But yeah, so I really like them, but I'm also a fan of Darby Allin. I think he's really cool in the stuff that he does. I'm always amazed by him. I like his philosophy of just controlling his own destiny, I guess. And I know that comes back to, I think it was his father or his uncle.
I think it was his uncle. It was his uncle in the car.
Uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I know it was somebody real close to him. Yeah. And and so, I just have a respect for that, I think. And, I just went through cancer. So I kind of just have a respect for wanting to just control your own destiny and have just live your life. You know what I mean? So I just get that, I think.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So since we kind of beat around the bush here a little bit, wrestling fans.
Oh God.
Yes.
Mainly.
Well, I think this is a good segue kind of because I talked about how I really identify, I guess, with wrestlers that deal with psychology, right? So that would be, I would say, a great segue of how I would say fans work.
Yeah.
Getting into the minds of fans.
How far are you into this?
So
this is a never-ending hole, right?
Well, so I've really just been kind of observing, and I think that this isn't based on any actual factual data at this point. It's more of an observation, and like I said, this is based on what I know of social psychology and just observing. in my observations are telling me that it's, wrestling fans tend to identify with wrestlers or a wrestling company, or, that's kind of how I would say connect, or it's either identify with the gimmick or with who they would like to be.
Or who they think they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Or who they would
Right.
want to be. Maybe it's somebody like, maybe they wish they could be a Cody Rhodes, or maybe they wish they could be a Liv Morgan, but they're not like that, but they wish they could be. Or it's somebody like they, they like somebody like Steve Austin, where they, stick it to the
Right.
man kind of a guy. You
Yeah,
know what
absolutely.
I mean? And so, yeah. So I think it really comes down to like who you identify with or who you wish you could be more like. And that's kind of how I think people maybe pick their favorites,
Oh,
if
for
that makes
sure.
sense. Yeah. So, and then you have, I would say, the younger fans that are, when I talk about human development, you've got the younger fans who are just kind of at that point, just experiencing it all.
Yeah, right.
Right. And to them, it's more like everybody's just a larger than life character. And it's more like movie type, like when you think about like Disney characters or superhero characters or something along those lines. Like at that point in your life, it's all just, these are larger than life characters. And so you're just starting to kind of make those connections. I wouldn't say it's so much about identity at that point until you're getting a little bit older.
Right.
And then that's where you would make those identity connections. Like when you think about human development theories, there's a theorist called Erik Erikson, and his in adolescence is when you have like that identity portion of that scale, I would say. And so that's when you're starting to figure out your identity. So if you're figuring out your identity, you would most likely be connecting your identity to somebody else's. And that's when I would say people would most likely make those connections either at that point or even when you're older. So if like you're an older fan that just starts watching when you're older, you'd still make those connections.
How does social media play into all this?
Oh, man.
Social
That's a loaded
media
question. I apologize.
amplifies everything, right? So social media is its own beast. So I would say it does one of two things. So one, you're finding like-minded people.
Sure.
And when you find like-minded people on social media, it can like your algorithms kind of go that way. So it can kind of get you into a silo effect. So it just amplifies your own voice, which is, it can be good in certain, if you can find people who are healthy to have those relationships with, but it can also, then you can also have a different experience, I think, where, you might end up in arguments with people on social media.
Right,
So
right.
it depends, I would say, on how much you're on social media.
The problem.
That's a different question, right? So, on one aspect, I think social media can be good because you can get a lot of information, you can exchange ideas. And I think if you're, doing that in a healthy environment, I spoke in another spaces about tribalism, which I think is another very interesting topic, but, that there's a healthy discussion you can have on tribalism, and then there's toxic tribalism. Sure. Right? So like you can get into I've seen some pretty interesting conversations and that's where I would say people, you can have like social identity theories, we have like a we versus them kind of situation. And that's really more that tribalism. Like I'm in this group, you're in that group.
Right.
And you kind of stand for your group, right? But then you have parasocial bonds, and that's where somebody's like so close to that performer that they feel like they personally know them, and they will do everything to kind of show their loyalty, be cheerleaders for them, share, really strong feelings for them, everything. And that can be you can have like a cheerleader type of a person, but then that can go to a point where it's unhealthy. I think too.
Yes.
So
yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So, and I think if you go too far down a hole with that, and sometimes we do see a lot of that on social media, but there's a spectrum with everything.
Oh, absolutely. No, and then back to that point where you're saying like people tie themselves to a promotion. Unfortunately, I feel like there's too many people when they were forming their identity was so anti WWE that's kind of where they are now. And then and that's just a whole world of people that just feel like there's no coming back for them. Like they're just, we hate this no matter what changes happen, no matter anything. And it's like, we get it. We were there, but we can all grow and evolve with it, but that's unfortunately
right.
Can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something where, we've gotten, when I talk about that parasocial bond, you've made such a bond that you're standing your ground. You're not gonna, and you've got such a cognitive dissonance. You know that they've made changes. You know that, this, but you've already posted so much hate that if you change your mind, you're afraid that people are going to call you a hypocrite. So now you're too afraid to say, well, I'm going to watch it now. Because I've posted all this stuff, what am I supposed to do? So I can't go back on my word now. Right? Sure. And so that's that inner fear of like, well, God, I can't go back on my word. I already said all these things. And so what am I supposed to do? And that's unfortunate, but
we're there. We're there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
For someone like,
that's why I feel like sometimes it's better to stay neutral on things, and then you don't have to worry about that.
Try to be objective about things. One of the things I like about George and I when we have our discussions and stuff, that we agree on a lot of things, but there's many things that we don't. But we can have discussions about it. We're still friends at the end of it, and sometimes we are able to change each other's mind to be like, hey, I didn't look at it from that perspective. Shit, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, that's
absolutely.
We're able to do that. That's one of the things I like about these spaces, conversations where you said like, oh, I might go on a tangent. Please do. They're fun. We're wrestling adjacent always, but sometimes it'll go way left or to the other side. It's more fun that way. It's what we do, and that's why we're excited to have this conversation, because we never knew where it was going to go, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, I talk about WWE a lot because that's mainly what I watch. But I used to watch AEW a lot. I went to one of their shows, two of their shows, and like I enjoy AEW. I haven't watched a lot of it lately. I watch more clips than anything, but I would say I am a fan of AEW. I just don't really, I like a few things. So for me to sit down and watch the whole show, I guess there's other things that I need to be doing. So I don't always, I'll throw it on every now and then though.
Unfortunately, their storylines, their problem is that they've got a great talent roster. There's just a lot of the storylines repeat themselves, or, they don't go anywhere with it, or it's something that's just not that intriguing for somebody who wants to have at least some thought into it a lot of times with it. Cause I'm the same way. I went to the first show they had here in my area. I made sure to go to it. I was a fan. I was supporting it. Just got to a point where I wasn't enjoying what I was watching as much.
Yeah. And GCW, like the other TNA, all those, I like watching them. I just don't have like the ability to watch as much as I like. So
TNA, if anybody is screaming for a TV deal in the United States, it's TNA.
Yes.
They've got stuff.
Please.
We would all please give it a chance with it, but it's almost impossible to find.
Right. Like, please just put more things on TV.
I'm hoping we're hoping they announce that sooner than later, because I'm with you on that. I'd like to cover it more and talk about it, but it's hard to watch unless you pay for the TNA Plus.
Absolutely.
When we were talking about X a little while ago, I noticed that there's two different like people that post. You got people that put their name there and give a little background on themselves and tell you where they're from and how long they've been in. And there's other people that just are there. It says Joe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from nowhere, and
with no picture or the picture is not of them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we go?
Do you notice the difference between the types of posts?
That's where I was heading.
Yeah. Yep. Anonymity is a funny thing, isn't it?
Yeah, especially now. And that's one of those things too, where the people, you can tell that they're just in one set of mindset, and that's where that toxic mindset comes in, and just post whatever they want to, or reply to things that no one would even say over the phone.
There's no repercussions.
Yeah, there isn't.
Correct. I feel like people like to be a heel in real life, but not really in real life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that might be somebody who is like, I want to be a heel. But I don't want to have anything come back. I want to still have my job.
I want to heal, but I don't want to have to pay for the consequences at all. Yeah. I don't want to face the consequences.
Yeah. I mean, there's things I would love to say to people, but I'm not going to say it. Sure. No. I think that, that's exactly what it is they just don't want to pay the repercussions. We all have a little devil and a little angel on each shoulder, right? And I think that's just their way of letting the devil take over.
And then,
I'm not being religious here. I'm just saying that's we've all got that.
And there's people that'll just they'll make a bunch of different accounts. Oh, like this one got blocked and whatever. I'll just go back.
Yeah.
They don't care they're not trying to do anything with it. Like it's not them behind it. Like it doesn't have their information. Like there's not pictures of them on their accounts with it. Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah. And I try not to, and I would say this for anybody, try not to let the comments from those affect you.
Please. Yes.
because
that's what they want. That's all they're trying to do.
That's exactly, they're thriving off of that. So just try not to let it get under your skin. And sometimes it gets under mine. And so I say that with a grain of salt. Like I understand that it's going to get to you. It can get to you, but that's what they want. So just by not giving them any reaction.
That's why I like to mute people instead of blocking, because if you block them, they're going to be like, well, I win. And it's like,
I win. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I tend to block, but that's a good point.
I like to mute them and then they can reply to my stuff. I always feel like they're yelling into the void. I'm like, go scream at a wall. Have fun with that, dude. Cause I don't care. I would block them, but I don't want them to be like, I won. Yeah. Like, no, you don't get any feel good out of me. You get not. It's like, I don't like you. I don't hate you. I nothing you. Go look at a wall. That's the way I try to do it, at least. Just go over there.
Oh, that's funny.
That's my mindset.
That's great.
Go sit in the corner, buddy. Like, go sit in the corner. I don't have
I will now be doing that. And then I will be picturing them screaming at a wall.
Exactly. It makes me feel better about it. Like, you just, whatever, kid. Like, have fun with your life. Go over there. I'm going to be here with the adults. I'm going to sit at the adult table. That's my thought of it.
I have just stopped replying to some people because I'm like, you know what,
they're just trying to get a rise out of you because they're just, in their sad little world of it. And it's like, I just don't have the time. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. During, Jake will know this one. During last year's holiday period of Thanksgiving, I had a prominent member of the wrestling media stalking me.
Oh, yes.
No names are going to be mentioned, but.
No, but I'm pretty sure I
can
figure that one out.
On a holiday, too. On an actual holiday.
There's one of two people I can think of, and either one, Yep.
My YouTube comments and stuff, and I was going to block, and Jake told me to mute, so I muted, and now it's gone. But it was weird. It freaked me out. It was Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, that was the thing.
And I was texting Jake, but I knew he was at his parents or something. I'm like texting him, dude, what do I do? I'm sick. I'm 59 years old. I'm going to be 60 next week. I'm not used to that stuff. It freaked me out.
Holiday. Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, yeah. That's people that live there. And that's where the social media can be way too, like, a toxic, people that live on there. Like, if that's the first thing.
And that's somebody who's just insecure. And so that's what I say to, like, when I see things like that happen, is that's somebody who's insecure in themselves. And okay, well, just go be insecure.
Nope. And if that's the first thing you're doing in the morning, or for his checking your social medias or figuring out, like, there's a real world out there, guys. There is.
Yeah, and you gotta go out of your way to find me on YouTube TV comment section. You gotta find that.
Right, especially
and
the people and for those same type of people where they'll vanity search and they don't, like, you've never tagged them, and they'll I don't have time for it. It all just gives me a giant headache. I'm here to have a good time. Like the rest of the world, there's so much crap in the regular world. Like I don't need it online.
Yeah. Let's just have a good
Especially
time,
around
right?
professional wrestling. Like there's so much fun we can be having, like good or bad, whether we're making fun of it or enjoying it or whatever. But you've got to bring this whole negativity into it. It's one of the reasons George and I started doing this. Like let's at least have some fun with it. Like,
yeah, I've listened to some of your shows and they're so
the goal,
fun. Yeah.
We're just trying to have a good time with it and maybe bring some of that into this world. Cause usually when you see things, it's people yelling at each other or yelling at you. I'm like, I don't need that. I'm pass.
Correct. Yes.
So when we talked earlier, you said you had some other subjects you wanted to tackle?
Please.
Yeah, I was just like looking through my notes,
Yeah.
like what other thing, I had one other thing I know I was gonna, talk about, and
While you're talking.
what
While you're
was
talking,
it? Yeah.
you can always recommend people go to the YouTube page at,
YouTube.com / AltJakeTakesOn. You can hit the link. Yeah, by all means. Hey, we've gained a few. We're getting closer to that 300. We're going to be at 300 by the, either end of this month or sometime early October. That's the goal. No, yeah, this has been a great conversation so far. I'm glad she's got notes. I'm ready for more. Let's see. That's awesome. I love it. No, packing notes. And even like when you reach out to ask me, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that because, someone actually is excited to come on and be a part. I love it. Thank you.
Oh, I think one thing that I put on, like, why do fans get mad so easily when things don't go their way?
I mean, that's
So, which was one thing that I just thought was really kind of funny because we were just talking about people who kind of go the wrong way on social media sometimes.
They think they can look better than
right?
the professionals. Like you think you
yes,
look better
and
than chefs
so
at the restaurant too, dude?
Yeah, I think that is, and we kind of talked a little bit about some of this is, again, back to that parasocial bond and identity is that they are so invested. They've built this idea of this strong prediction about what should happen next. And so when it goes the wrong way, they don't feel like, it's just a surprise. They feel like it's a loss. And so that's basically like a loss aversion at work. So it's also against their identity. It's not, a lot of times when it's against the person that they, have that bond with or that identity with, if it's my person gets buried or, my team gets embarrassed, whatever. It's really like it hits like a land, like to themselves, right? It's not just a neutral plot point. So they feel like it's
happening to them.
It's a dig to them. Yeah. Correct. Yep. Right. So I think that is basically that, when I talk about social identity theory, that says that it's a threat to their group or to their person. Right. So, and if they've posted anything about it, of this is how I feel like this is going to go, now they feel like embarrassed about that. I was wrong. Now what am I supposed to do? Because now I have to backpedal because I was wrong. And now I feel like I have to explain myself of why I was wrong. And then they get really mad. So then I think that if they post a bunch of like, oh, that was bad booking, or that was, I could do better. They made a, wrong call on that one or anything like that. It's your fault. Point the finger. And so that's why we see, especially on social media, such it comes off very angry, is probably to make up for all of that.
All you gotta do is just fess up if you're wrong. Like
right. I mean, I've done it. There was one night I said, well, I've been wrong like 3 times tonight. Let's try one more.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is going to be my next guess of what's going to happen. Let's see if I'm wrong this time.
On our show leading up
let's make a joke out of it.
On our show leading up to SmackDown, I kind of read somewhere that Becky Lynch was going to open up SmackDown.
Yeah.
And I said it on the show.
Oh,
course,
yeah.
we post the show, and then I watch it. Of course, John Cena opens the show.
The
So
moment
the
you
first thing I put on the YouTube comments is figures.
Yeah.
This is why I don't watch. This is why I don't pay attention to
Right,
social
yeah,
media, because it's always
exactly.
friggin' wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
I would be
Yeah.
the first one.
I
when I
mean,
get things right, I'm like, holy shit, I got that right? No shit. Yes.
yeah.
I never get it right. Yeah. No. It's more fun that way.
Yeah. I think if we laugh at ourselves, it makes it
Exactly
way better
right.
than just getting
then
mad.
somebody
Yeah.
dig themselves, they
Absolutely.
dig their heels in and they won't come out, and it's like, what? And then the other thing, I'm glad you used the word buried, because I feel like there's another whole realm of people that think that
Yes.
hear a certain term or think a certain way, and like they think that, oh, they got buried,
Mhm.
like they lost once, or they lost a couple of matches in certain things that were close, and like, oh, they were buried. Like, no, I'm like, go back
Yeah.
and watch it in the 90s.
Or when they say, why didn't they help him
Yeah.
get over? And they don't quite understand what getting somebody over means.
Exactly. It's just,
I've seen that a lot too, where I'm like, I don't think you understand
Yeah.
what it means to put somebody over.
Exactly. Like, I don't think you quite understand how this works. Yeah, no, they and again, because they're dug into it and it's their person and their thing. It's just their brain can't comprehend what's actually happening in front of them. Yeah,
I'm like, if you really, really look at this, they did put him over.
I always say,
Yeah.
you don't have to go over to
You don't
get
have to-
over. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
It was the
Mhm.
last NXT Heatwave. I said it. I'm like, Obafemi's winning the match, but Javon's gonna get himself the over, and that's exactly what happened. Oba went over,
Yes.
Javon got over, and that's exactly what needed to happen.
Exactly.
In the match. Perfect, and that's what wrestling's
The
supposed
problem's
to do.
simple. The problem's simple.
Yeah. And
The problem is that
mhm.
modern day wrestling fans think they are wrestlers, and they all use inside terminology, and they have no idea what it means. They don't know what it
They've
means.
seen-
All you gotta do is listen to Cornette one time when he workers. They're a worker. No,
there's people that have seen guys shoot interviews more than they've seen that guy wrestle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got, like, you haven't seen this person actually in the ring and what they've done. You've just seen their shoot interviews about it and think you know everything. And it's, I feel like an old curmudgeon when I'm yelling about this, but it's true. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy there's some really great shoot interviews out there. They're fun, but I also have seen the person, know what they're about, know their story, know what was going on. You know, we have gone on YouTube and watched matches, you know. People talk about, like, oh, I like Mid-South. I'm like, talk to me about it. Tell me some of the storylines. Exactly. You've heard that phrase and you want to tie to it, but you know, because that was what, like, I remember that was one thing they told me AEW was going to be like, and I'm still waiting for a Mid-South segment. I'm still waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Dr. Gina, when did you start watching wrestling? How old were you?
So I started when I was a kid, and then I will say there was a period that I didn't watch, and then I started up again.
I was going to say that happened to most of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like off and on. So I watched when I was a kid, like, you know, Hogan and stuff like that. So, and I watched all the cartoons, played the video, you know, that video game. I don't even remember what it was called, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So, I saw somebody post about that video game not that long ago, and they were like, this looks like ass. And I was like, I mean, it was, but it wasn't, because to us it was really fun, and we didn't know anything different.
Stand-up one was, I would play that in the arcade. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I played that. There was a certain arcade near my grandparents' house that I wore that thing out.
Yeah. And I'm like, it was really fun back then, but you know, now looking back, yeah, it is ass, but back then it was really fun. Like, I used to smash all the buttons because then I would win, you know, but yeah. But yeah, so I watched back then, and then, I would say until about 6th grade. And then, you know, I got into high school and other things, you know, and then, I think I watched a little bit of the Attitude Era, but not a whole lot. And then I started having a family and all that jazz. And then I ended up going back to school. And so, you know, I was deep into that. You know, we were talking about dissertation, you know, you don't have time for anything else. Right. And then I started watching again. I don't know, 2018. So, I mean, it hasn't been a lot. Like, it's, you know, obviously fairly recently, but, or how long, I don't even know how many years that's been, but yeah, so, you know, I've been deep in it
ever since,
lately. yeah, ever since then, I would say very deep into it lately. So my husband's actually been laughing, and he's like, "You're more into it than I am."
That's awesome though. Like, yeah,
But
because I
yeah,
mean, when there are certain storylines or things that hook you and bring you in, like they'll bring you right back into it, no matter how times you've been away.
yeah,
Yeah,
oh
it's happened to
yeah,
me a couple times where I've gone away, and the last time I felt like I was hooked back in, I remember joking with my wife, like, I think I'm just back. This is just, I enjoy it. Like, I'm just not gonna not enjoy this. Like, it's who I am.
yeah, and like back into it now. I'm trying to go back and watch some of the archive stuff. And so I would say a lot of it, what I'll end up doing, like with AJ Lee, like I went back and watched a few things to,
Yeah. Well, they make
like,
it easy now with the vault.
let me know her a little bit better. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I try to do that, as much as I can, but there's so much stuff to try to go back and watch,
I think
obviously.
it's all
Can I
gonna
ask a
help.
question that
Yeah.
you might not know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
During the pandemic era, how do you
Yes.
think the wrestler's psyche was performing before no people?
Oh, I bet that was horrible on them. And I give them so much credit, because I think to have to perform in front of nobody when you probably thrive off of crowd pops, chants, you can tell how much that means to them.
Yeah, especially the people that have been doing it for a while.
For one side of it. So that's just one aspect of it. Now, another aspect is you never know. I mean, I know they were tested every time they came in, but you don't know interacting with people if you're going to get sick, and then when somebody is sick, then there's the whole, especially early on in it, there was that panic.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, the early on, nobody really knew what was going on. So there was that panic of like, you didn't know. I mean, there were so many people dying right away. You were like, am I going to die if I do this? So I'm sure there was so many emotions going on. And I know at the very beginning, they did have, because weren't they doing, I'm trying to remember, weren't they doing it in the Performance Center,
that was
right?
where it started. It was the Performance
Right?
Center for a while.
Yeah. And so they did at least have like the people from the Performance Center in there to kind of mock like a crowd. I do remember that. So they at least had some people cheering on.
AEW was doing it at Daly's place, and they had literally like the undercard roster and the younger kids out there. I remember seeing that was like the first time we saw the time we saw the Gun Boys, and then they were cheering on in the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm remembering before they had the screens up, they had like some of the other, they had the NXT people, I think, there, and then they had some of the people from from Full Sail, I think, were even there, to try to like mock like a crowd. But yeah, I mean, that had to have been, I don't know what they have for counselors, but God, I hope they had somebody there for them to talk to, because that had to be difficult. And I think, not to go off of wrestling, but I know the hockey players too really went through, because they were isolated.
Right.
Yeah, they were in their own little village.
Right.
Yeah.
And
the
NBA
they couldn't even go anywhere.
Yeah, that was a weird time. What's funny?
It was a weird time.
The funny thing about my story is my wife and I got married on March 7th, 2020, and went on our honeymoon that Monday afterwards. Monday to Friday, we're on our honeymoon, and we come home and the world's completely changed. We're like literally we're driving home. We were finding things out while we were on our honeymoon, because everything was shutting down like after we went to it. Like we went to the last concert at the LA Forum. We were at Disneyland when they were shutting Disneyland down. Like, but when we get home, they're like, buy toilet paper on your way home. Wait, what? What is going on in this planet?
And why was everybody so... Why did everybody have to buy the toilet paper?
Like literally stop on your way home at the big gas stations and buy. That was all my mother-in-law told us on the way home.
That was all anybody cared about, was buy the toilet paper.
I remember buying toilet paper on Amazon. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, this is the weirdest
That was so funny.
Man.
It was a weird time. It was a weird time. No, but I think that they really did a good job of, doing with what they had. I mean, the stuff that Bray did then was brilliant.
The Bray and Cena match was really good.
Yeah. Really, and then, I remember Money in the Bank. Oh, they did like some where they ran up a building.
The old Titan Towers. They moved to the new building now, but it was
I
forgot about that. They did the elevator and stuff.
God, Otis really killed it back then.
I forgot about that. They did that with both of them.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, hey, you gotta make something
Mm-hmm.
work with it. You gotta work with what you're given, play the hand you're dealt. That was a fun way of
Yeah.
going about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think they did some pretty cool stuff back then for what they had, and they made it very entertaining.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Undertaker AJ Styles match, for what it became out of it, was a lot of fun, and it was a different but cool way of sending Taker off in his career, and he has stayed retired, so it's been, they worked with what they had.
Yeah, I mean, they really did. So like, it was, I mean, I remember I was really, really, that probably was why I got really back into it.
Well, that's interesting.
To be honest, like as much as I got
No,
into it.
especially too, trying to find that escape or trying to find something else to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that was a strong escape, and that's probably, I would say that's probably like the launch of maybe I'm stretching here, but I think that's part of why it got to be so much more popular right now, is because a lot more people were looking for something to watch, and it was so entertaining at the time. And remember, nobody was really filming anything.
No, yeah. You're getting
right. So like nothing new, but that was always on. So
they got the people interested when they started having the screens.
Mm-hmm.
I remember,
oh yeah, yeah, because you could be one of the screens, yeah.
And then Roman came back and was paired with Heyman, and it was one of those things like that. I still can clearly remember, because I wasn't watching it live. I was still watching kind of clips and not really paying that close of attention during the pandemic. But I remember seeing the clip with Roman, and then it panned to Heyman, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm watching this now." Because immediately I was like, "Wait, hang on." And from that point until forever, I've been hooked back. And that was one of those things where they were able to use the, hey, we don't have the crowd noise, we can talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've been a Roman fan ever since.
Right. Yeah, he went from being like, oh, this is guys. And when the crowds came back, they were ready to cheer him on for the first time for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And his character change has been really interesting too, with how much people kind of hated him for so long. And now, now people are just OTC, so I think it's fascinating to see how people flip like that.
Yeah, no.
So,
so quickly, sometimes so quickly.
All of a sudden, it's funny because he was the champion for 4 years, but they were cheering him because he wasn't being pushed down our throat. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you say it out loud, but it worked. It's wrestling. It worked. And
no, exactly. And sometimes it just takes something very small, like a Solo trying to take away that Ulafala,
Right.
You don't get to be the tribal chief, Hang on. And then you got the tribal thief.
And what's the common denominator? Paul Heyman. That guy.
Paul Heyman.
You could probably do an entire psychological breakdown of that man's career. I can't even. Yeah.
Oh, he would be fascinating. That's a great idea. I should sometimes sit down. He would be fascinating and go so far back, to, ECW. That would be a great.
He was driving Freddie Blassie around before.
He was like 14, 15.
License, and he's the to go from that, and then he's been through his career, that somebody needs to, I can't even make a movie, but you have to make like a TV season, like a 10 episode, right?
It'd be like a docu-series,
it would be interesting as hell.
A mini series,
God. Sign me up for that.
That would actually be really cool.
Yeah, no, I just.
So Dr. Gina,
that would
before we start wrapping things up. I have a question. This is basically for me, since we have like professional help in the room. Being from Buffalo, New York, okay? I grew up playing hockey, and I watched the Bills as I'm watching now, but I am an avid Buffalo Sabres fan. We have not made the playoffs in 14 years, and it continues probably this coming year, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Why do sports fans stick with their team when their team absolutely sucks? Like, what makes me do this? Why do I do this to myself?
Because there's a underlying feeling. Well, one, it's loyalty, right? And that's that social identity theory thing that I talked about. And so if you have that identity which was built from when you were young, right? So you've always, right? Did you say that?
I went to
since
games
you were
when I was
young?
6. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. So you've had that since you were young. It's part of your identity. It's part of your upbringing. It's part of who you are, really. So for you to just drop that doesn't make sense. And then there's also, I'm sure, this feeling of, what if I walk away from
And then
them
it
and then they
happens.
win?
Look,
Right? Because I mean, take a look at the Lions fans who probably felt the same way for years, and then they did pretty good
right.
last year. We won't talk about how they did today, but they did, because I'm a Packer fan, right?
Nice.
So I'm happy with that. But you know, like there was, and I always root for the Lions too. I always had kind of a soft spot in my heart for them, so I was happy that they did so good last year. But there is always that thought of, well, what if they do win? What if this is the year?
As a fan of two teams that had very long droughts, I grew up a Red Sox fan because my dad took me to games at 6 years old. So when they finally did it, and then this past May when my soccer team Tottenham finally won a title for the first time in 17 years, but first real good one in 41. Like, it really is awesome. Like, it's worth it. Like, I'll tell you that. The celebrations we had.
And then that payoff is right. And then that payoff is even sweeter because you know, and now you've experienced it. So that probably even adds to it more because you're like, I know it's possible.
Yeah, especially with Buffalo Bills. The Bills.
I was just gonna say, I feel like
I just want one before I die.
Just give me
just
one.
Want one.
Yeah.
That's all I've told Jake on the phone many times. I go, dude, I turned 60. I want
just one. Give me one.
Just one. One.
And now subconsciously, anytime I see the Bills, I'm rooting for you. I want you to get it happen because I can tell it's an amazing feeling. It really is.
Yeah.
That is a psychological thing because there are times when you're rooting for your team and they just shit the bed on you and you just, why are you doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? But it's who we are.
I mean, at least you're not a Cowboys fan.
That's a good, yeah.
But you know hockey, Dr. Gina. You know Buffalo's not very good.
Yeah.
But...
No. Well, I mean, but there's always going to be a team. Yeah. I mean, at least it's not the Leafs who have a curse on them. True. So you could make it to the playoffs and then inevitably lose. Sorry, Leafs fans. But you know it's true.
I'm not a big hockey guy, but even I knew that. Like, even I know that the Leafs, it's like, somebody says that, it's like, ooh. It's like the Cubs before 2016. You just hear that, you're just like,
they did really good last year too. I really thought they were going to go further than they. I was like, ooh, and they whooped Tampa. So I shouldn't talk. But
that's right. Yes, they did.
No, that was the thing about being a Red Sox fan before 2004 was at least we would get close and screw it up. But it was the Cubs. It was like, they didn't make the playoffs for like 50 years. They didn't even get, the Leafs, like when they've been good recently, but I know there was a few years there where it was just like.
There was a few years it's unfortunate, but it's inevitable. I feel like they've got a curse. they make it in and then they just don't get there.
That parade is going to be awesome. Yeah.
It's going to be insane. Yeah.
It's just that.
And that's the payoff. So, and they stick with them because they know when they get there, that payoff is going to be sweet. So
you just want to be alive.
You have me thinking about those now.
Yeah.
I didn't think about before the people like, I'm done. I'm going to burn all my stuff, get rid of it. And then the next season they go on the tear and they win.
And they win. Right.
That's it.
Maybe I should do that subconsciously and just burn all my stuff.
The bad luck fans, man.
And
they'll do it. No,
I mean,
when it was,
if you're willing to take one for the team, I guess go for it, right?
Yeah,
you might be able to get it to, it's like praying to the rain gods, right?
But I feel like that's. I would rather be a person that supports bad teams that might ever do it than like the people that are like, oh, I'm a fan of like. Yeah, the people that are like, oh, I'm a Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys fan. I know the Lakers and Yankees or Lakers. None of the
I'm a Yankees
fan. When there was years, but you were lived in New York, so it's different.
Oh yeah, the years that the Yankees won every year because they just bought their team.
And there was like those years where it was that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about the people that are fans of like them and like the Lakers when they were winning a bunch with Kobe and stuff. There's a point where you're like, you've just front run. Like that's all you do. And as a soccer fan, there's a lot of US fans. They're like, oh, well, I'm going to go root for Manchester United or Liverpool or Real Madrid because they win a lot. And it's like, they take the easy route. I mean, I get it because you want to
Yeah.
root for a winner. It's hard for me in my brain to like jump on a bandwagon. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, so funny enough, like hockey, I'm, a Lightning fan, but I would say any other sport, I'm more of a player
Okay.
fan.
That's interesting.
So like I root for the Packers, but I'm a player fan. I like certain players. So I'll root for the team
Right.
because I'm a fan of certain players. Yeah.
And I feel like in
So,
modern society that makes more sense because players are going to lead. Like it's not like it was even in the 90s or either. It's very rare you're going to see a player stay on a team the entirety of their career. It's just not normal.
Right. Yeah, with the trades and
just the way
everything else.
Just the way it kind of works in today's society, you kind of have to get used to it. It's like you really, you always say, you root for the badge on the front versus the name on the back is kind of what it is. But
right. Yeah.
That's a fan of the team, but I can see easily times where there's certain players, and it does happen with me too, where there's certain players or certain athletes that just kind of connect with you. Even back to what you were talking about, where people make connections with certain wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, I always knew who Cody Rhodes was. I was always somewhat of a fan, but didn't, because I was a big Dusty Rhodes fan, so I didn't not like Cody, but didn't really hit me or care. But man, the moment he came back to WWE with his stuff and his music and then cut that promo like I'm doing this for my dad, as someone who my father was my best friend and he passed away when I was 26, suddenly like it was one of those things where I was like, yep, I'm all in on this one. And to this day, I'm like, yeah, that's my guy because I connected with him on that personal level. It just made sense.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see where he goes now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Cause he's finished his story. He's, had it out. He defeated the final boss basically with not selling his soul, had it out with John Cena. But now where does he, it's like he's climbed the biggest of the biggest hurdles.
Yeah, no,
had it out with Roman Reigns. Now where does he go? Does he go after Seth? Like where does he go from here? My thought is he has to turn heel. Does he not?
I've said it's either
Jake's playing the long game on this one.
Yeah, I've said the earliest it's got to happen is the end of next year, but I feel like it's got to be one of those things that's done right. You can't because he's built up.
Oh yeah, you can't just do it to do it.
It's been so like.
But did you notice he had slight things like the watch and his pocket square was very rock type pocket square.
The $500.
The sunglasses. He had certain things that were very like rock-esque.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And I was like, oh, maybe he did sell his soul.
Yeah, but that's prior to the people's revolt against the Rock. So
yeah.
Oh,
I don't think we're going to see the Rock involved in.
At least in the wrestling fans world, yeah, there's a lot of people that they turned on him hard. But I feel like though the Cody Rhodes heel turn is one of those things that's so interesting because there's so many people calling for it online and the fans that talk about it. But then you go to shows or see shows, you look at the kids and like all of them, it's
I know, and they're all dressed up like him. I know, it's so cute.
All that merch and like legitimately, like he's so great with all of them, and he is an amazing ambassador.
Yeah,
but I do feel like it's got to happen. I always just feel like with him, it would make the most sense. Like once the athletic ability starts to, because he's at that point where it's going to start, he's going to hit the apex and start dwindling down athletically at some point. And that's when you become heel because it's easier to be a heel in that sense. He can do that while he can still be as athletic and do all the babyface stuff. He can do it. Ride that wave, at least while you're still the top merch seller. If there's a point where the merch starts going, okay, look into it.
So I wonder with him having another child now, if he almost takes like almost like a mentoring role to the next generation. Good. He comes back like with this mindset of, I'm going to be a mentor to the young, the young people coming in, and takes on that kind of like, he's going to be like his dad where he's, what I mean? And maybe that's the in between. And then when they basically turn on him, he goes heel. Yeah. Then he, maybe that's what drives him to that.
I can see it. Yeah, there's just got to be a good.
Maybe that'll be where
thing too. There's got to be the right reason. Yeah, you nailed it. Like there's
there has to be the right reason.
You can't have him be literally the face of the company, working all the shows for the last however many years, and then turn it for no reason. Which I feel like that's why he didn't turn with Rock at Elimination Chamber, because it just kind of would have been like, what? No. And so, yeah, you're right. Because if you do it right, there's so much money in it because he'd be a great worker with the other baby faces and help getting them over, the young guys or whatever. But yeah, you got to do it right.
Yeah.
So,
Cause I don't feel like you have a lot of people right now who have that like mentor mentality of let's mentor the new people coming in. Not that there's a ton of new people, but I think we're actually going to start seeing a few more new people coming up from NXT.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that might be where we'll see.
I mean,
I think maybe that could be a way
the
to
NIL
go.
program is a proven success, so there's only going to be more coming in, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dr. Gina, I'd like to probably have you come back if you don't mind, like in November sometime, maybe.
Yeah, that would be great.
I kept you for an hour and a half already, and that's about our time that I discussed with you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that conversation flew. I looked up at one point, and it was 20 past the hour. I'm like, we've been talking for an hour. Okay, cool. No,
Do you have anything you'd like to promote?
Please.
No, not yet, but I might come November. I was
gonna say, well, and I've got your profile
great.
in the description of the spaces, so people click on that and go follow her at least and stay tuned because you got an interesting page of the way you look at things with it and give it from a psychological perspective that most of us lay people aren't going to understand specifically or think of it that way. So it's been very insightful.
Yeah, I try to do it for fun. Like I said, I'm going to be working on a book right now. Like I'm working on it a little bit, and it's not, it's going to be like a full book. So looking at different like aspects, fan, business, wrestlers, like all the different aspects of it. So, I'm looking. It's roughly 10 chapters. So, it should be a fun book.
You explain things very nice, so I can understand them, so everyone else can too, I assume. Which is good.
We appreciate that.
Good. That's my goal.
We appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been fun.
That was Dr. Gina Possin, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
IOG Psych on X. And yeah, if you guys like what you hear, please go follow us through my X account at AltJakeTakesOn. Also our YouTube page, youtube.com/@AltJakeTakesOn. And we will catch you next time. Thanks everybody. Peace.